You want to make money? We'll start a business.
When you get the little things right, the big things will follow.
The business is the center of it all.
Start mastering your craft.
It's not complicated, but it's hard.
If I don't outwork the competition, I will lose it all.
"22 years in corporate America, ran markets for telecom companies in all of the United States and the UK. Rookie of the Year in life insurance sales, Hall of Fame producer, Hall of Fame agency owner, and trending $100 million in issue paid premium for 2024. Mr. Marco Conde, how you doing, my brother?
Doing great, bro. Thanks for having me on, man.
Thank you for coming on board, dude. Excited to have you, man.
I'm excited to be here, man.
Awesome. So, Marco, what we're going to do today, man, our podcast is called The Blueprint. And essentially what we want to do, bro, is we want to go through your journey, beginning to, not to end because it's not over, but to where you are today. Yeah. And hopefully just touch or inspire somebody who probably can relate to your story, because I feel there's a lot of people that are going through what you went through throughout your career, and obviously you could provide a lot of value. So that being said, man, I think obviously I did a good job introducing yourself, but if you can, let's just start right from the beginning, Marco. Where are you from? Kind of talk to us about your upbringing, and then, we'll lead right into your professional journey after that.
Yeah, for sure. Well, thank you, man. So yeah, I was raised in Miami, Florida, first generation Cuban American. And, my parents came from Cuba. I got 3 older brothers, so 4 total boys that my parents had. And for us, it was all about doing great in school and getting a good job and kind of going from there. What ended out of that was 2 of my brothers being doctors and physicians, very successful ones that own their own practices, and then 2 very successful entrepreneurs, which is myself and my oldest brother, who owns Man of War. So long story short, I was raised in Miami, moved to Palm Beach County probably when I was a teenager, and just got into the corporate America grind quickly. As great as my parents did raising us, there was a tough financial spot when I was around 14 where they declared bankruptcy in the business and personally, and I had to immediately start helping out in the house with bills. I had to get a job. And that's it. So from then on, man, just at 15, started selling cell phones, the free phones, the Bell South Mobility, penny phones, and found out I was pretty good at it. And then from there, Telecom was the rest of my book for 20 plus years.
Wow. Did you go to college at all, or right out of high school? So you did.
Yeah. So I played football in high school, then went to Florida Atlantic University, graduated there with a bachelor's degree. So that was it was great. Yeah, it was a great experience, but it wasn't a traditional college experience. It was an experience where I had to work a lot.
Got it.
Yeah.
And so you worked and went to college at the same time, right?
Yeah, for sure, man. Yeah.
And so obviously I met you when you worked at Sprint, but was it Sprint back then? Did you always work at the same company? How'd you come about getting into the cell phone world? Was it just looking for a job? Kind of walk us through that.
Yeah, man. So I started at 15 at Circuit City selling cell phones. It was a straight commission job. And then from there, figured out I was pretty good at it. The minute they moved from commission to hourly, I left. And Sprint was hiring across the street. Started with them. Started as a greeter. Worked my way up to a salesperson, to a manager, district manager, regional manager. And then I had a great opportunity to run an international joint venture between Dixon's Carphone in the UK and Sprint here in the US. So that was a great 2 years, spending a lot of time in the UK and in London, and really just overseeing a massive joint venture. I learned a lot being a director at that time, and just continued to grow from there with T-Mobile after.
Oh, okay. So you wanted to make commission. You started as a greeter. You work your way up quickly. What do you think was, because just like you, my story's similar. I worked in cell phones when I was young, but I didn't know I was good. I just kind of did my job, and it turned out to, it turned into promotions. How did you move up the ranks so quickly at such a young age in an industry that honestly, it was relatively new, really, right?
Yeah, I can tell you this. Moving up the ranks for me, there was something about everything I did. I had to give 100% effort, man, even the little things. So once I figured out in life that when you get the little things right, the big things will follow. And I figured that out early. I was very blessed to know that. From there, I always had a good work ethic, man. That was instilled to me by my parents. And every minute of every day, I have to make it count. It's just something that's kind of built in me. And so whether it's selling cell phones, whether it's managing a team, whether it's overseeing a couple states, I was just absolutely rabid about just giving great support and just making sure that every minute of my day was valuable.
Right. Awesome. So 22 years. Before we go on to how you transitioned out of that, because there's a lot of things that I know happened that I want you to touch on. Let's kind of just stop that for a second and let's go into your personal life, because it's very relevant to all the things you deal with, right? And I think it'll relate to a lot of folks as well. You're married, father of four. How long ago did you get married? Where were you in your career when you got married? Kind of walk us through that journey, having kids as a young, leader in corporate America. If you could, chime in a little bit into that.
Yeah, well, the Telecom not only brought me a lot of good years and great experience, but also brought me my wife.
You can look in the camera right there.
So hi, Tiff. But yeah, Tiffany walked into the store to purchase a cell phone, and I ended up being her sales rep, and the rest is history.
Wow, what are the odds?
Made sure she got the extended warranty, and a long story
she got
short,
the lifetime warranty.
got the lifetime warranty. Yeah, but no, it was awesome, man. So I met her there, and they just moved down from New Jersey, not too much, they haven't been here for too long. So she asked if I would show her around. I said absolutely, and the rest was history. I told her I didn't have time for a girlfriend. I was single, but I was going to school. I was working a lot. I was doing a lot of things I was focused on. And sure enough, I saw her 8 days in a row after. And
how long ago was this?
Dude, that was in 2001.
Wow.
So yeah. So
Kevin, you were born?
Depending on the month.
Yeah. August 25th.
Right.
I was born. I was like
10 days old, no?
7 days old.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, man. Yeah. So
Jesus.
Been together for a while. Married in 2008, and then we got 4 kids, man, from age 3 to age 14. So lots of blessings, dude.
Gotcha. So let's talk about the kids. So you have 4 kids. Your oldest is, you said 14 earlier today, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Where in your career were you, and how did that impact how you were working or kind of your vision for work when Gio was born?
Yeah, man. When my oldest was born, that changed everything. Because I really wanted my wife to be able to stay home and raise my kids. That was my big thing. Fortunately, I just got promoted to a district manager, and she was able to do spend most days with the kids. She had to do some part-time work, but not as much. I think also for me, that's when I really started realizing that in corporate America, no matter how hard you work, you are someone's controlling. Someone or something is controlling your financial capability. And no matter how hard you work, no matter what you do, there's a cap, there's a ceiling. And when I had kids, I started realizing that more and more. Because when I wanted to say, all right, I'm going to work X amount harder, X amount more hours per week, wasn't really too relevant to the compensation.
Right.
So yeah, man. So I've always been an entrepreneur at heart. I started a company called Car Seat Heroes, got a utility patent approved. Was in the inventor phase with Mattel and a Cup Fisher Price and a bunch of other companies for a wearable car seat costume that we still have today. Almost got in Shark Tank. And I opened up a construction company.
I would pay to see that.
Yeah. We got a construction company that we opened up to help pay for our wedding back then as well. So I owned a construction company called Art Deco Construction and Restoration for 6 years. Did that for a while. Yeah, man. So it's
all while working still in corporate America.
All while working in corporate America, yeah. Because I wasn't able... Once again, I wasn't able to get the income I wanted and needed in corporate America, so I had to find some avenue. Yeah. And that avenue became from just entrepreneurship and just having side hustles and creating businesses.
All right, so 2-part question. First part, when you work in corporate America, was it more about chasing the promotion that hopefully one day will get you to that income you were looking for? It's the first question, yes or no? And the second part, looking back at it, do you think that it interfered with you maybe making one of these companies that you started blow up or get you there faster because you were kind of splitting your attention into both?
Yeah, it's a great question. So I can tell you that for me, corporate America taught me a lot of lessons, good and bad. I am very grateful for the time that I had there because I learned so much. I had a lot of structure that I was able to take from it, made a lot of great relationships. But at the end of the day, it wasn't the place where I knew I was going to be able to provide for my family the way I really wanted to. So I had to make a decision, and that allowed me to really start, once again, the side gigs, entrepreneurship, side businesses. And yes, I was always looking for the next title. The title was great, but I was more so looking for that next level of income.
Right.
And that's what it was, man. Just trying to find a different way to provide, hey, how do I get my kids in private school? How do I get us in the house we want, the neighborhood we want? How do we get, the cars that we want? Right. So that's what that next title was brought for us in corporate America.
Gotcha. Interesting. So let's go to the fun stuff now, because I think what everybody wants to know is how you really ended in business for yourself. So what happened after 22 years? Why are you no longer in corporate America?
Yeah, man. So listen, I was senior director of sales, on my path to get promoted to vice president. I was extremely close. And sure enough, I had a chief revenue officer start for my company, my telecom company that I was with. And no matter what I did, or no matter no matter what my accomplishments were, he wanted to bring in his own people. So when he wanted to bring in his own people, he just told me one day, listen, the reality is, thank you for all that you've done, but I just want to bring my own team in. It's like a coach. If I was going to go coach the Miami Dolphins, I would bring in my offensive coordinator,
assistant coaches,
defensive coordinators. So I, as much as it hurt, I understood. And so I flew home from North Carolina in October
Can you tell the story of how they told you?
Yeah.
That's important and very relevant.
Yeah, the story was this. We were in North Carolina. We were celebrating being the number one wireless dealer in that particular state. So we had a massive, dinner celebration the night before. I come down the elevator, and when I come down, the HR director standing there, which she wasn't supposed to be there, with a package in her hand. She asked me to sit down, and she pretty much told me, listen, I'm really sorry to tell you this.
In the middle of the celebration.
In the middle of that, and just said, listen, we got to part ways. And nothing that you really did wrong, couldn't say much about you. It's just, we just want to bring in other people. And we just see our future being different with now the new chief revenue officer.
Were you blindsided by it?
I yes and no. I thought I had such a great value proposition for that company. I did so much for it that I thought it'd be a hard pill to swallow if they were actually to let me go. But when it hit, it was it ended up being the biggest blessing ever.
Right.
Getting laid off was the biggest blessing ever. I flew home unemployed, not knowing what I was going to do. And thankfully, my wife sat down on the floor with me and said, listen, the reality is you will never work for someone again. That's what she told me. She was here's my ultimatum. You're not working for somebody again. If we have to go live under a bridge, we'll go live there together. That's fine. We'll make it work. But she said, you'll never, ever, ever work for somebody again. At that point, it clicked. The click was, what hit to me was never allowing someone or something to control my financial stability or capability ever again. So I started looking for something that I can do. Now, replacing a senior director income at that time, making whatever, 220, 240, that was a lot of money.
Yeah.
And
it's not easy to replace.
Not easy to replace. And I had to replace it in 90 days. So I didn't have much time.
Because you were living a senior director.
Of course, life. Yeah, dude, 100%. So the reality is, long story short, God kept putting insurance in front of me. I don't know why. If you go back 5 years from today, and you would tell me that I'm doing something like this in insurance, I would tell you to get drug tested.
Yeah. And the timeline we're talking, this is October 2019, you said, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
So literally about 5 years ago.
So let's talk about that. So you're flying home, probably, I know the feeling, a hole in your stomach.
Yeah.
You got to go and look at your wife in the face. And yeah, it's the worst feeling a man could probably feel.
Yeah.
How did you end up in an insurance meeting that I know you went to? How did that happen? Like, I know you said it kept getting put in front of you. Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
Yeah, just a buddy of mine told me, hey, there's an insurance opportunity that I hear it's going relatively well for one of my friends. She's doing it on the side. Would love to see if you want to come and listen to hear more about it. He asked me about this meeting to go with him a couple of weeks prior to getting laid off. I told him I had no time. I said, love you, brother. I'm on a plane every week. I have no time. So sure enough, when I land, he hears about me getting laid off, and he says, hey, that meeting is tomorrow. Do you want to go? And I said, what? At this point, yeah.
Well, you got to lose at this point.
Dude, but I thought all the worst about insurance, man.
Dude, it sounds not say a word. It sounds like you're going to go sell shakes for you to work out.
Yeah, it's so bad, right? So I thought the worst about
life.
The worst about insurance, man. I thought, all right, you have to wear suspenders. You got to smoke a pack of cigarettes every day.
Bag your suit.
You got to lie to people constantly. You get very little commission. And you got to work under someone for like 10 years to make a decent living. Right. That is what I thought insurance was. So going into that meeting, I had a lot of preconceived notions, man. But the opportunity I heard was actually pretty solid. And so I took it home, prayed about it with Tiffany, researched the heck out of it because I knew nothing about it. And I just decided, let's go ahead and get licensed just in case a real job doesn't pop up.
A real job. So you brought me right to the point that I wanted to touch on. Before you got into insurance, 22 years, the last few, you were flying overseas and all over the country. At this point, you had 3 kids.
Yep.
right? Your fourth one's in here yet. You're missing baseball games, probably your football games. You're missing recitals. You're missing a lot of things that your kids are going through. Your wife's at home with them. You're basically pouring your soul into a company that let you go because new guy came in and wanted to bring his buddies basically to work for them. I have a lot of people that I know, and you do as well, we all do, that are you 10 years ago, right? They're climbing the mountain, they're climbing the corporate America ladder, and they think they're sad. And in the back of their mind, they know what you knew all along, right? Because they're all doing side gigs. And if it was that good, you wouldn't have been doing the side gigs you were doing. But they just can't let go. What advice do you have for them? Because I see it all. Being people call me like when you have a leadership position for me available for they want to work here. And I'm like, dude, it doesn't work like that, you know. Yeah. But what advice do you have for the people in those shoes? Because it's so many of them, and they're so talented, and they're putting in so much time and effort, and they care so much. But you're right, the income does not reflect the work they're putting in, and most importantly, the job security is never there. Because, you know, I had a mentor who told me, you want to go and have a job security, go get a government job. You want to make money, go start a business. So what advice do you have for those guys that are right now in the corporate America seat and they kind of know, but they just are like stuck where they are?
Yeah, so I can tell you that our brokerage, right? We support over 2,000 brokers across the country. Over 65% of our agency comes from telecom and tech. No previous insurance experience. So what that means to me is when I first started, I knew nobody and I knew nothing in this industry. So I had to learn everything from the ground up. Once I figured out that this opportunity was real and legit, I started sharing it with individuals. And the message I always gave them was this: you either wait for that moment that you're going to get where you do get pushed out. So you either wait for that moment where you will get pushed out, or you make a preemptive strike and do it on your own terms at your own pace and do it the right way. Because the reality is I had to wait. I waited. I was all in 20 plus years. There's just nothing else for me to do besides corporate America until I was shown the door. And at that point, that's when that's when it became a dogfight. And that is when I really was able to dig in, and knowing and understanding later that was a blessing. Because what that did was that allowed me to put my back against the wall, have no plan B, and be able to go to war the way that, few can really feel that feeling. A lot of people come to start with saying, Marco, I'm going to keep my job for a while. I'm going to try this out. And that's perfectly fine. But they'll never understand or experience that level of desperation. And if you can use desperation as a gift and not as a burden, that's when the game changes.
That's the limit.
Yeah. Yeah, you got to do that.
Well, granted, I mean, you're making $240, that's $20,000 a month. How do you, I don't even think if you could have done it differently. If you could go back, would you do it differently? I feel like it's impossible for me to tell you would not responsibly quit that job, even though the right thing would have been to probably start earlier. How do you balance those two things if you are somebody sitting in that chair? Because everybody knows that one day the end's going to come, but everybody also thinks that it's not their day.
Yeah. No, 100%. And listen, I tell people to get started, get licensed, understand the products, start becoming part of the industry. From there, start dedicating your off time, whether it's PTO time, weekends, nights. Start mastering your craft, because if you can master your craft in sales, you can replace any type of income. That's what I learned. Yeah. That's the reality.
That's where the money's at.
Yeah, that's where the money's at. So whether you're a doctor or lawyer, for me to be able to earn more than doctors and lawyers, my first year in the insurance industry, not knowing anybody or anything, based purely on grit and work ethic and literally just burning the boats, having no plan B, and saying there is no other option. I have to win. I wish more people can feel that. It's a scary spot to be in, but until you feel that, you'll never know what your true potential really looks like.
All right, so let's staying on the same topic. So you got licensed, both you and Tiff did.
Yeah.
Walk me through your first 3 months, honestly, because it's so much easier to say it now on the other side.
Yeah.
But bro, you were replacing a $200,000 salary.
Yeah.
And anybody who knows how this works, you're buying leads, you're spending money, you're out on the road,
yeah.
And actually the biggest thing to me that I respect a lot about you is you, like, it was hard for me to go back to basically entry level work, roll up my sleeves and make phone calls, not even get to the level you were at. How did you manage to swallow your ego and your pride? Because you could have gotten another job that paid the bills. I don't know to pay you the same 200, but at least well over 6 figures.
Sure.
How'd you manage to swallow your ego and your pride? And how'd you manage to adapt? What were those first 3 months like?
Yeah, so, I did get some job offers in the Northeast and the Midwest to go back into telecom, director roles, similar pay, but we made a choice not to uproot our family. So January 2020, when I first started selling insurance, we literally had the only money we had left because our severance ran out, our savings ran out. We just opened up a clothing line for my wife, which a lot of the savings went to. So literally it was the mortgage payment. I had to turn the mortgage payment into literally enough profit to cover all the bills for that month. The first couple of weeks were horrible. I'll be straight up with you. I was not good. I thought that I was going to be humble enough to be successful in the insurance industry. And I really felt I had a good grasp on humility. But I needed to take another big bite of humble pie, man, because I was nowhere near where I needed to be. I came from an expert in my field, very highly recognized, lots of achievements, type of leader in the industry, to literally starting at the very, very bottom, brand new, not knowing anybody or anything. And dude, to this day, people come up to me and tell me, dude, when you went to insurance, we were all laughing. We thought you went crazy. How do you go from being so close to being a vice president from a huge telecommunications company to starting off selling insurance? It was like we're selling Mary Kay.
Right.
Like it was so for me, I just realized, number one, my faith in God was important. Number two, my wife's support was important. And number three, I talked to the family and told them, listen, Daddy has to go to war. It's going to take 9 to 12 months probably for me to figure this thing out. You're going to not see me as much. I probably won't be here as much, but the reality is once I crack this, then I'll be able to get our balance back, okay? So first couple of weeks were very rough. The reason why they were rough is because even I thought that I was good enough to take the shortcuts. And I quickly found out that I'm not. Because the process in this business and the repetitive nature of it, the best teacher in insurance sales is experience. And you can only get it by doing it and by being in the field or on the phones, talking to clients nonstop and selling insurance. And for me, I thought, hey, I didn't have to start dialing at 8 o'clock. I didn't have to self-book that many appointments. I didn't have to fill up my calendar with 30 appointments a week. I didn't, I can buy half the lead batch that most of these guys buy and still turn it into 30, 40 appointments a week. Very, very quickly, I found out that I needed a lot more humility, that I needed to trust all of the proven process, not just bits and pieces of it, but all of it, even the parts that made me really uncomfortable, to really find success. And I did it. There was my third or fourth week selling insurance, helped about 7 or 8 families, wrote around $9,000 in premium.
Send me a screenshot.
And literally 48 hours later, I got $7,000 deposited. And I was like, wow, okay. I can do this.
I wish I had that text. I have that deposit. He sent me a screenshot of the deposit. I was like, all right, fuck it, I'm in.
Yeah.
It's literally how this happened. You know that Wolf of Wall Street scene, like, show me a check and I'll quit my job right now? Then he's like, come to a meeting, I'm out there. Oh, fuck the meeting. I don't get this license. He made $7,000 in a day.
That's
All right, so you ate a big piece of humble pie. You went to work, but still, like, what are you thinking? Like, all right, walk me through what the schedule looked like, and please tell me what you would think while you were driving to these appointments, because you could have been like, this is it. Like, you believe, but some part of you has to have been like, what's plan B? Because if this doesn't work, like, I still have that resume that I can go land a decent gig somewhere else.
So I'll be straight up with you, man. I never thought about plan B.
Really?
I was too far in.
This or die?
It was that, too far in. And I'll never forget my wife saying, listen, we can move in with my mom, we can do this. And I'm like, that's never going to happen. I was just too far. Because I kept seeing all these people have success in this business. And I was like, man, if they can do that, why can't I? So I literally kept punching, man. And the reality is, yes, whether it's an appointment I was driving to, or a telesales appointment I had, or a Zoom appointment I had, I went in with the mentality that I was going to leave protecting that family with a sale. And man, I just got better and better at my craft. Every sale I missed was an opportunity for me to get better, either closing, building more emotion, driving more urgency.
You didn't miss money, bro.
Yeah, well, I mean, but it was the reality was that is, I learned quickly, man. So once I got some good experience under my belt, and I noticed that, hey, repetition and experience is the best teacher here. Like, let's just go to war. But my mentality wasn't a plan B, dude. I was talking more to God in my car every day and on Zoom and via telesales than I ever spoke to him before. And I truly believe he did that to bring me closer to him and to show me that his plan was so much better than mine. Right. So much better.
So for anybody that wants to get into insurance, obviously things have changed a little bit. We do a lot of things remotely now. But at that time, what was a typical week? Because this is still before you're even recruiting. This is you selling.
Yes.
What would a typical week look like?
100%. So it's 6 days a week. So it's Monday through Saturday, right? I dial the phones Mondays and Thursdays. I would dial phones early mornings, probably 8 to 9, 8 to 10 on our run days. Our run days where, hey, we have appointments booked on Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, and the appointments are either virtually, face-to-face, at someone's home, at a Starbucks. We even had people come to my house for appointments. So it was just all about filling up the calendar and getting in front of people that had some type of interest in learning more about these insurance products, okay? And that's where I found out about buying leads. I mean, the reality is, I spoke to a lot of other insurance marketing organizations, and they were touting how great they were. And they would tell me, I said, so walk me through, like, how do you generate leads? How do you get in front of clients and prospects? And then their next question was, well, how big is your family? Or how many social media connections do you have? And the minute they would ask me that, dude, I'm out.
Yeah, you can't scale a business like that.
No, you can't scale a business. They would all these companies work your warm market. Mm-hmm. Yes, you can find some success there. Nothing wrong with that market, but you cannot build a legitimate business the right way, just without any type of lead generation and getting in front of clients.
Especially with the type of business we do.
Yeah, 100%.
All right. So Monday through Saturday, the kids.
Yeah, big one. I missed a lot. I mean, I worked every Saturday in 2020, besides maybe one or two. And the thing about me was, no matter how good or bad my week was, I came into that next week ready to fight, man. Like, literally, my mindset was Rocky IV versus Drago. Like, every Monday, and I hired an assistant along the way and brought some people on, and people were like, dude, great week, dude. Like, and I just didn't care. I didn't act like it, man. I just needed to make it too big to rig.
Well, I was on the outside looking in, and it wasn't rigged. But do you remember the Facebook group we had that will post all our sales?
Yes.
You know what I'm talking about? There was this big Facebook group before group chats.
100%.
So it was insane because I was working around the same time, and we'll get to that in a second. But, I'd go and I thought I had a half decent day. I wrote 3 policies, $4,500. Probably not going to work for another 2 days because I made more money in a day that I probably would have made in a month of my old job. And you were silent all day, and then I don't know if you remember your drop at the end of the day. Appointments 1 through 8. First appointment, his or hers, $3,500. Second appointment, no show. Third appointment, $3,200. Fourth appointment, $4,500. Sixth appointment, $800 and $1,700. His and hers. Total for the day, $17,000. I was like, holy, every day, dude. And this is a real story. Like, that's like the people that come now and see like Marco running this big agency. Bro, this guy was writing fucking $15,000 a day. I felt like every single day for a good 8-month stretch. And all of that, which I think the biggest part of this that you haven't touched on yet is you did that while a pandemic, while the world was ending.
Yeah.
So what did that do to your business, and what did you think? Because it was right when you started, right?
Yeah.
You finally figured it out, and all of a sudden, bam, the world's ending.
Yeah.
Walk me through that if you can.
Started in January 2020, right? So that's the year COVID hit. Yeah. So at the end of January, I had my big breakout day and started gaining some momentum. In February, I flew to the annual convention in Las Vegas. Mm-hmm. I used my mother-in-law's airline points.
It's a great story.
And used my hotel points and literally ate like the cheapest food you could find, and did not even walk out of my hotel room. I was the first one there at the convention, and I was the last one to leave every single day. And I didn't say a word to anybody.
Please remember, he's been making $200,000 a year for the last few years. Like, this isn't a kid that's used to being broke.
Yeah. So nonetheless, went there, took it all in, came back, started building on my momentum, and then March hit, and this thing called COVID hit. And I thought to myself, God, you put me here and I'm not going to question you, but you put me here, and I'm trying to figure out why I'm just starting to get momentum, and all of a sudden this comes my way, and sure enough, quickly I come to find out that the insurance industry is about as recession and pandemic proof as there is. So it quickly turned into questioning to praising and thanking God and giving thanks, man, because what a blessing it was.
Yep. How would you run appointments?
Yeah, that's a great question, man. So my in-home appointments, I would come in my backpack, man. Well, first, I every day was my lunch pail, bringing in the car, and my water. And back when COVID was hitting, the only place we can go to like use the restroom was Publix. So, dude, I had to map out like
Publix. I didn't think about that. Yeah, you're right.
To map out, because there was nowhere else. No one's gonna let you in. We got pulled over by cops all the time too. But the blessing was we were a necessity.
Yeah,
we were labeled. Yeah, we were labeled as a necessity, as a necessary business that had to remain open.
What was the terminology for that? I can't remember what it was, but
yeah, something like that. It was that's. But long story short, yeah, man, the schedule was, we always wanted to get 8 or 10 appointments in a day because we knew a lot of folks were going to no-show, whether it was telesales, Zoom, face-to-face, it didn't matter. People were always going to no-show you. People are always going to reschedule you. They're going to always get cold feet. So we had to over-influx the amount of appointments we had. So traditionally on a day, the most appointments I can do in a day is maybe 6 or 7. But I want to book 9, 10, just because we knew that it's a number, put the numbers in your favor and everything will work out. Double book appointments. So I would double book one in the morning, one in the afternoon, one in the evening. And that would give me plenty of time to be able to say, okay, no problem. You got to reschedule, pivot, and kind of go from there. And dude, I wouldn't get home till 10, 11 o'clock at night during COVID. I would literally have to like burn my clothes pretty much every day, throw them right in the washer, like get an HVAC suit, jump right into the shower. Yeah, dude, flashbacks. Yeah, jump right into the shower, like, cause we didn't know what it was.
Yeah, we'll get undressed in the garage.
Dude,
and shit.
we 100%. We had no idea what it was. We had no idea what COVID was, but we didn't have a choice.
Yeah, I got my first deal St. Patrick's Day of 2020 in Naples. Go figure. And as I'm there, the world's ending. They're shutting everything down. Like the world's going to shit. It's like, oh, fuck.
I know.
All right, so cool. So let's turn the page because obviously you had tremendous success. I know you wrote and made well over $500,000 your first year, but you also started building an agency and recruiting. At what point did you see the opportunity to build a business and walk me through the beginning of the recruiting days, hiring staff, things like that? What was that process like?
Yeah, the minute I figured out that this business was legitimate and that you can really make some good money, help a lot of people, it does require a lot of hard work. It's not a get rich scheme quick. I immediately started telling everyone I knew about it. I'd have meetings in my house every week on a Friday night. Okay, I would cut my run day, cut my appointments a little early, get back and get people in the living room. Whether it's 3, 5, 10, 15 people, it didn't matter. I was just adamant about sharing my opportunity. My vision was always to try to build kind of like an underground railroad for tech and telecom, employees to get out of that space.
For the old you.
To break 100%, dude. I was all about like helping people break free and break those corporate America chains and showing people that if I can do it, anybody can. And it was a blessing, man. And that's kind of what started the big run on telecom and with tech and getting all these people to come in here and say, all right, wow, this business is legitimate. And so it's from meetings in my living room. Then the meetings moved to virtual because obviously COVID hit. And so we would just do a business opportunity meeting every week. We would blast out our success, what we were doing, and just sharing the opportunity with everybody we could.
But do you attribute, and I've never asked this question, and I don't even know how I would answer it myself. Do you attribute wanting to build a business to understanding how the business worked and understanding that if you brought people on, not only can you change their lives, but you could obviously earn money on it? Or was it more of like, it was such a big movement at the time that it was kind of like, you just want to tell people, because if I'm making money, why can they make money too?
Yeah,
a combination of both.
The reality is it was both. The reality was I was really excited to tell people that there was a way out.
$7,000 in a day.
A way to break free from corporate America. And I was so excited. And that was like my crusade, man. Just to let people help people, show them a path on how to break free. And my business mindset was, hey, if I can get, a little team going here, show them exactly what I do, copy and paste. It's a copy and paste business. We know that, right? So the reality is you don't have to come in and reinvent the wheel. Find a system that works, get plugged in, trust all of it, no shortcuts, and the results will come. And if you can do that consistently, I said, man, why can't we? I never forget you. I talked to you about it briefly. The next call I had with you was that you closed a couple sales.
Yep.
And I said,
I didn't even tell nobody.
I'm like, bro,
people don't believe me when I say that, man, bro.
I'm like, dude, but what we just talked about you getting a license. You closed 3 deals today? He's like, yeah. I'm like, this guy.
So let's tell that story. So I don't know if you know, but when you text me, so I didn't talk to Marco in 2 years, maybe longer. I had left the company to work that. And you text me, it was first week of January of 2020. And how could you know? I was sitting having breakfast with Jose at a restaurant by my house. And you sent me that text. And dude, how could you not? Just full transparency, what you said verbatim, verbatim, I remember is, hey man, I got into this industry I've been killing it with. It's a great opportunity. I think you would do really well. Let's chat when you have a second. And part of me was like, no way, Marco's doing Herbalife. And then the other part of me is like, he can't be doing Herbalife. So let me hear what he has to say.
Yeah.
And you caught me, and I think that's the what people miss about recruiting is that you never know what people are going through. And you reached out to me at a moment where I was opposite to you. I was like, screw the promotions, I'm quitting. And I'm gonna go do my own thing very naively and very irresponsibly, to be completely honest with you, because I had responsibilities and no money saved, and I would have, like, if insurance literally saved me because I would have been so screwed. But you got me at a moment where it's like, okay, well, yeah, perfect. I already quit my job and I need to make money, and this sounds like I could do it. And I always knew I wanted to start a business, but I never knew what I wanted to do. I tried doing a painting company, but I don't know how to paint. I tried doing an IT company, but I'm not really good with IT. I tried selling alarms, but I was spending most of my profit paying a tech for the installation because I don't know how to screw a freaking hole in the wall and install the bracket for the alarm panel. And then here you come with this thing where you're like, yo, we all understood this. There was leads, and there's a product, and it pays $1,000 a pop on average. And bro, Marco told me, come to me. I have a meeting in my house in 2 weeks. And I was like, meeting? Dude, how do I get the license? By the time he had the meeting, so he texted me in January. The meeting was February 10th. I had been licensed. I went to the meeting. I actually understood the business after I got the license. He explained it to me because I got the license. I just knew I would make $1,000 if I got a sale. And that's all I would do 2 of those a week. That's $8,000 a month. That's $100,000 a year.
That's right, yeah.
And $110,000 actually, based on that math. And dude, you changed my life, and you changed countless others with the same way, because not just your direct recruits that you got in the beginning, but all the people we've been able to touch. So I mean, obviously, I thank you for that all the time. But I love to do it in a platform where everybody else could see it. But back to my original point, you started recruiting, and you didn't give a damn about what people thought. Because remember, people were laughing.
Yeah.
I know that for a fact, because if it wasn't for the fact that you called me at the right time, I probably would have been one of the assholes saying, look at what this guy is doing. I mean, my initial thought was Herbalife. How did you not care? Like, for real. Because there's got to be a part of you where, like, I know you, man. You carry yourself with integrity. You've always had this posture and this, like, I am really good at what I do. And all of a sudden, they came in, they replaced you. They have another guy that's acting like he's doing really well in your job. And you're recruiting insurance agents. Like, it doesn't really add up. How did you not care? Like, honestly.
Yeah.
Or did you care and you just ignored it because...
No, so the reality is I was ashamed and scared at the very beginning to even change my job title on LinkedIn or on social media.
I can imagine that.
So I was like, man, so for me, it was a bit of a journey. It didn't happen overnight. But that's where humility came in. That's where back against the wall, burn the boats, no plan B, you go to war and you figure this out and you stop caring what anybody else
But how'd you dig deeper? Because I know you're telling me this, but, it makes sense, but people don't do that. You know what I mean? Like, how did you find that?
Dude, but I found it because I met desperation. Desperation punched me right in the face, dude. And I had a choice to use it as a gift or a burden. And I had the only way for me to survive and to provide for my family was to use desperation as a gift. Because when you can use that as a gift, it will take you to new heights. Dude, when I first started selling insurance, if you told me I'd be Rookie of the Year, Hall of Famer, build this massive business, I would tell you, dude, slow down. I just want to pay my bills.
Right.
So when I looked up 8 months later and people told me I was by far on path to win Rookie of the Year, I'm already a Hall of Famer, I didn't even notice. Because, dude, I went into I don't want to say a dark place, but I went into a place that I've never been before. And it was heavy reliant on my faith in God, my family, my support system, my wife. But it was a place that only me and myself know. It was a dark place. But, man, I'm so grateful for that.
Can you compare it to a zone in sports?
It is, bro. It is. It's one of those things where you almost get numb. You fall in love with the process and you literally repeat it day after day after day, not worrying about the outcome, not worrying how much money you have in your bank. And then you look up 8 months later, 9 months later, and you say, wow, okay.
How much support did you get from people in the industry in the beginning?
So yeah, I had a couple guys that were helpful, that were somewhat mentors to me and so on and so forth, okay? The reality is the support that we offer now is not even remotely close to what we had. Coming from corporate America, we were big on structure. We were big on showing a very clear path. Here's road A, road B, road C. This is the setup. In insurance sales, it wasn't like that. It was me having to find resources, piece them all together for them to make sense, and a lot of trial and error. So while I'm thankful for the support I had, comparing it to what we offer now support-wise, it is not even remotely close.
It's one of those things that you wish you had that, so you make sure to put it together for the people that are coming after you?
Yeah. So the minute I had just enough funds to be able to put a website together, put our broker portal together, and do these things, I immediately literally took all the resources I found from everywhere and created that path. Whether you were unlicensed or licensed, click here, follow this roadmap, and people loved it. And yes, it wasn't the most advanced in the world, but it just gave people a path. And I think a lot of people who go transition into entrepreneurship or sales, especially in insurance sales, they want a path, they want a roadmap, they want structure. And this insurance business, it's a lot of, hey, you get what you get. Okay, whatever you put in, you get out of. But there's no road, there's not that much of a roadmap or a path or, I literally had to have a conversation with a couple mentors and say, how do I net income $30,000 to $40,000 a month? And most of them couldn't give me an answer. And if they gave me an answer, it was just them guessing.
Yeah, or very generalized, vague.
Very general, very, very vague. But I had to get there. Okay. There wasn't an option.
All right, so let's talk about recruiting. Back at it again. There was a meeting we went to, and I don't know if you recall this. And somebody, obviously you, like I said, you carry a great posture the way you speak. So before you had a big business, if somebody met you, they would have thought you had a big business. Somebody in the meeting asked you, how much are you guys doing a month? And that person for sure thought you were going to say like, I don't know, $300,000 or $400,000 in HRP premium. And we were doing like 80, which we were doing like 50 of the 80. And then like the rest of us were doing the other 30. And I remember thinking to myself, damn, we are so small compared to the numbers we were seeing. But then, bro, overnight, we just blew past people. Like, it was like the craziest run I've ever seen in anything. Like, this is like, I mean, like the Warriors or like the Yankees in the late 90s. Like, it was insane. So, do you remember that meeting? One, that moment? I don't know if you do.
Yeah.
And two, what was that like, man? Seeing like, I don't want to talk about dreams coming to fruition, but seeing your vision coming to fruition real time. What was that like? Like what you go through mentally, were you locked in, wanting to double down every time? Did you believe, could you even believe it?
Yeah.
What was going through your mind as you're going through, hitting 100,000, 200,000, 300,000, a million? I remember you saying, I want to be at 2 million by the end of the year. I'm like, bro, I don't know. And now you're, 7, 8 million a month, I think everybody together is producing.
Yeah, yeah.
What was going through your mind as you're going through that?
Yeah, it's a great question, man. So my first thought process was I was shocked because as much as I wanted to get there, I didn't realize we can get there that fast. That's number one. Number two, I was also very grateful because, man, I had a lot of amazing business partners that trusted me and that came alongside me, including you, and went to war to build this thing together. And so I always felt like I had a responsibility to always do right by anybody who entrusted me in this business that came along and work right next to me, side by side. And I always continue every single day. Dude, I have a healthy paranoia, man. I wake up every day with a fear that it can all be gone tomorrow because it happened in 2019. And for me, that healthy paranoia keeps me sharp. It keeps my edge on, man. And I have the mentality that if I don't outwork the competition, I will lose it all. And I work with that every single day. So, man, it was a little bit of everything. It was kind of a lot of emotions at once hitting. Gratefulness, thankfulness, shocked, but also, man, we were in savage mode, man. We saw what these guys were doing. We knew that we can run circles around them. Between our talent, our work ethic, our corporate America background, the structure and the skill set we got from corporate America came in handy quite a bit. So when we saw what we were up against, man, we took off. And what's great about you and I, Joseph, is we're not afraid to invest. We're not afraid to double down in our business. You know, a lot of times people start, this entrepreneurship dream, and the minute the business starts making some money, it's theirs. It's not your money. It is the business's money. You are to reinvest that money in order to cover your bills and live however you need to. But it's the business's money. And people just have a real hard time separating that.
Yeah, for sure. I tell everybody, my son, my wife, maybe my parents, Mom, I love you. But not a lot of things come before the business because the business is the center of it all. You're right, it can all get taken away in a heartbeat. I mean, we've already seen that through, people have no idea the shit we go through. I wish I knew. Marco, how does it feel to see people like me, people like the other ones like me that you brought on board that today have not only a lot of things in big companies and big businesses they run, but they're able to impact other lives as well. To know that this all came from this tragic moment, if you want to call it, of getting fired and the lowest of the lows. And now you've been able to impact so many people who are doing so much better. I don't know if you've even ever thought about it that way, but you've touched a lot of lives, dude. And this came from this little idea that somebody brought to you and then this insane obsession and run you went on, 2020, 2021, 2022. What does it feel like to see these guys doing well now and know that you had a part in it, even though they all worked hard, extremely hard, and they earned it, they wouldn't be here if you didn't decide to do insurance in the first place. So what does that feel like, man, to know that you've changed so many lives?
Dude, just complete gratitude. Like for me, just absolute gratitude. And I'm just honestly really proud, man, because all of my business partners, dude, they've earned their way. They have put in that time. They've worked relentlessly. But the truth is, it comes with just a bunch of gratitude. But that gratitude doesn't get taken for granted. That gratitude doesn't get me to a place where I can rest on my laurels. And in this business, that happens sometimes. Hey, I'm the one that referred you into this business or talked to you. No, I am obsessed with always having a great value proposition so that people want to continue to be in business with me. Not because they have to.
Right.
And that's always been a big thing for me, man. That's always been a big thing.
You gotta earn it.
You gotta earn it. You gotta earn it. But yeah, it's gratitude, man. To see you and all these other guys have these amazing big businesses, to see all of the revenue you're generating and how well you're doing for your families and how many lives you're impacting, not only in the community but across the country. Dude, you know that. How many guys have we brought over from Telecom and Tech?
Man.
Countless.
Stephanie told me this weekend, and I swear to God, even though I know this, I had never thought about it this way. She's like, Joseph, you do good, and this applies to you too as well, Marco. You do good because you care. But you really care, because everybody says they care, but then their actions don't really match your words. And what makes it the most gratifying to me, it's not the cars I drive or the house I live in or the trips I take, is Kevin has a nice car and lives in an apartment with Christine. Alex moved out of his house and lives with his fiance now. My sister drives the car of her dreams and moved out. We're able to put people in positions now where they have the things they want. And that takes you way further than you getting it for yourself. And I agree with you. I think that's where a lot of people go wrong. 'Cause a lot of people make $40,000 in a month. And bro, it's really hard to let go of $40. Don't pay bills with 5 and the other 35 are going right back in.
Yeah.
And I will tell you this, and I know you live with this, and this is advice to anybody who's starting a business now. I didn't make money or like change my lifestyle until I started making well over 6 figures a month. If I made $40,000 in a month, you look at my bank statements, man, like 40 will come in, 30 now will go out, including my bills. It was my bills and, dude, whatever I had to pay for it to continue to make this bigger, because I knew that 40,000 a month with the way it's too volatile, really, of a business to settle for 6 good months. You know, you want to be in this thing for 20, 30 years. You've got to really keep pumping into it. And dude, that's why you've done well, man. I'll tell you, I know I tell you off camera all the time, but if you didn't care the way you do, it doesn't matter how talented you are. I see talent do this for 2 years and leave all the time. How many people have we seen blow up and disappear? And they're at some job now, or they're public adjusters now, or doing something else. This is an opportunity that is, in my opinion, as lucrative as any other, but as difficult as any of them. And I don't sugarcoat that because it's simple. It's not complicated, but it's hard. And the biggest thing I think that it makes it hard is the money comes in such big bunches that you take it for granted. And I think that's why people will sell so quick. Because it's not hard to sell an insurance policy, but we work on borrow money, and you're a prime example. And obviously, we've kind of taken after your leadership on that, on just pretending we didn't make the money, just putting it right back in, and the rest is history, man. And it goes across the board with all the big, agencies that work under your guidance. And yeah, dude, if it wasn't for that, we wouldn't be here today, man. So once again, I want to thank you, man, because as I'm saying this, I don't want to get emotional here, but you've touched many, many lives. You've put us in a position to touch lives, and dude, I'm eternally grateful. People ask me all the time, like, why do you deal with this? And why, like, everybody wants to be the main guy? And I'm like, bro, you don't understand the shit that people have to go through. And people, sometimes I feel like your value is underestimated, as valuable as you are. And so make sure you get your flowers, because they're very well deserved.
I appreciate that, man. Thanks so much, dude.
All right, so continue. You recruiter, you're doing fucking $100 million a year, insane numbers beyond your wildest thoughts. You're kind of living out your dream. What's next? Like, what do you want to, like, how do you want to keep impacting? Because obviously your day-to-day is way different than what it once was.
Sure.
But what is next for you? Like, what does your vision look like 1 year, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years from now?
Yeah.
What does that look like for your company?
Yeah, for me, from an entrepreneurship standpoint, I just want to continue to impact as many lives as possible. You mentioned it. Mm-hmm. So for me, we're working with local colleges. There's a big run right now in our country of individuals, yes, going to college and so on and so forth, but really starting at a much younger age than I did. And man, if I would have found insurance when I was 20 or 22, it would have been a different ballgame. Right. But the reality is you can get your license now when you're 18, okay? You can start selling insurance when you're 18. Insurance is the most beautiful industry. Like you mentioned it. You can make a ton of money. You can make doctor and lawyer money your first year, but it is a difficult thing to do. A lot of people think it's a get-rich scheme quick. It is not. So for me, I am really excited to empower not just existing agents and brokers across the country and meet with them and connect with them and meet with sub-agencies and support them, but also really, man, just to get connected with that next generation of folks that are coming up and really just empower them to see you don't have to go into corporate America. You don't have to go work for Enterprise. You don't have to go work for T-Mobile. You don't have to go in those. You can literally write your own story if you get off to a good start early enough and understand what entrepreneurship really looks like. So for me, that's that, and continuing to build our staff, man. Our staff is at 10, 12 plus right now, and seeing those individuals, like you mentioned, buying a car that they love, living in a place that they love, having the financial flexibility to do things that they want to do with their families. Dude, it makes me so happy. So happy to see those things, and that kind of joy can't be taken, man. But yeah, I'm excited. I think for us, we will become the biggest insurance brokerage in the United States in the next 3 years.
I'm not it.
Yeah, but together with you and all of our business partners, our vision, there is no doubt that we're literally just getting started at $100 million this year.
I think you have a very dynamic team around you. Everybody kind of has different strengths, and it all comes together very well. So I don't doubt that we'll get to that in the next 3 years,
Yeah.
without a doubt. All right, so to wrap up, a question that I ask everybody, and I want you to answer it. So if you go back to when you were in your early 20s, 22, 23, 24, climbing the corporate America ladder, and you give yourself one advice, knowing what you know now, what would that advice be?
So climbing corporate America.
23-year-old Marco, I'm trying to get on the age.
Yeah, no, it's fine. Yeah, for sure. So from a corporate America standpoint, I would say focus on the little things. The little things. If you can capture a really good, healthy obsession on the small things, I'm always telling people that the big things will follow. A lot of times, especially now, individuals get so enamored by looking at what they will be at 6 months, 12 months, 18 months, 24 months, what the title will be, what their comp level will be. It doesn't matter. If you can't take out the trash today right, if you can't wipe down a counter right, and if you can't do a simple coaching call correctly, if you can't serve and help somebody the right way, dude, if you don't do those little things right, the big things will not come. So just get super, super enamored with the small things, understanding and loving the process. And I'm telling you, man, the small daily victories add up over time. And just that you have time. I mean, the reality is I started in the insurance industry, almost 5 years ago. Dude, I was in my late 30s. So there's no, like, whenever you think you're running out of time or whatever that may be, the reality is there's still plenty of time out there to make things happen.
Awesome. Well, dude, thank you so much for coming on. I think this is probably the best one yet. Alex, what do you think?
Yes, I agree.
Dude, yeah, you killed it, bro. I appreciate you coming on, bro.
Thank you for having me, brother. Appreciate you.